overloaded all the time, and we're also much more caught up in ourselves than we are with other people. But even the people who do remember tend to be much more sympathetic or neutral than we'll actually give them credit for. So embracing the spotlight effect and actually taking action, kind of safe in the knowledge that, you know, if you do mess up, people probably aren't watching, and if they do, they're likely to be sympathetic, is a really, really good way forward. And I think next to that, for people who are really hampered by, you know, kind of the saving face effect that I would call it from an Irish perspective, that, you know, the idea that it's much worse for me to mess up when other people are looking. I think start doing things where people who you don't know won't see you in the beginning, and then you'll get some confidence and be able to go a bit more global. So taking those small steps rather than staying stuck is really, really important.
Yeah, both of these like tie in really nicely with, like, you know, when it comes to starting a YouTube channel, which is quite a terrifying thing for a lot of people. I think like when I did it, I made like 20 videos before I posted it on Facebook, because that was the audience people that knew me. And before then, like, no one was going to see it because I had like 3 subscribers, and like no one's ever going to find the videos. But then, you know, the advice I often give to people when they're really worried that, oh, what will my friends and family think, is that A, they probably won't care. They'll look at it for 30 seconds and move on with their day because they've got things to do. But B, like, you know, if your friends and family are like nice people, they'd be like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like,
they'll love you anyway.
Yeah, like it's the fear is so much more in our heads, in our imagination, than it is in reality. One of your final chapters is all about environment and things that we can do in our environment to nudge ourselves towards kind of making progress on our Think Big goals. I wonder, what tips have you found personally useful in terms of the way you set up your environment to help do things like write a book or like do your research and things like that?
Well, I see you have the green, which is really good. So one of the kind of, you know, if you're in a place where you don't have, you know, kind of easy access to kind of green spaces, bringing green indoors is really, really helpful. It's really good for, it's really good. It's good for oxygen. So yeah, so there's a big tick in the environment today. But, you know, for me, I think the biggest thing is digital, and really thinking about what's your relationship like with technology, and is that the biggest time sinker that you have, and then setting up your environment to make it much easier for you to switch off from technology when you need it. So, you know, my job, it would be much harder to do my job if I didn't have access to technology. So I'm a big proponent of it. I can get information really, really quickly. It's very easy for me to digest lots of academic papers now, as well as a lot of thought leaders. But that said, if that's all I do, then I never put any output into the world. And my worst habit is checking email. For other people, it would be Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it is. But thinking about, is there a way that you can change your environment to make it harder for you? Because it's all about cost benefits. It can make it harder for you to check your email, to check Twitter, to check Snapchat.
Yeah.
And for me, it was actually removing it from my phone, and removing it from my laptop, and putting it on an old iPad, allowing myself to check my emails on an old iPad that was in a different part of the house. So every time I wanted to check my emails, I had to physically go to that part of the house. And I also set up pledges that I would only check my emails twice a day, and then move to once a day. And I will tell you, I failed a lot. So, you know, there would be lunchtime where I would be itching to see, oh, is anyone emailing me? What's exciting in my inbox? And I would go and check, but it was much less. And I've never been more productive in the periods of my life when I've managed to switch off my email entirely.
Okay. That's a good shout. I should uninstall my email app from my phone. I'm just thinking about how much time I would save. Because often, like, the stuff, like, it doesn't really need a response here and now. And one thing you often say in the book is, you know, unless you're a heart surgeon or the president of some country, you really don't need to respond instantly to people. So.
And then I think other stuff is easier. So, you know, thinking about the colors on the walls that inspire you, thinking about lighting. I mean, there's really good evidence on lighting to suggest that if you're creative, you want to have kind of more dim light. If you want to really focus on something, you want to have this bright light. Making sure that you have fresh air in your room. Making sure as well that you have a place where you go to work. So even if you're somebody who's in a flat chair that feels overcrowded, maybe the place for you is going to be a seat in a coffee shop, but trying to get that same seat every day. There's something about our mind when we're in particular environments that it switches to, this is the activity that I'm supposed to be doing in this environment. You know, people find that when they go to pubs, for example, they find it when they go to theatre, there's particular habits that they'll follow without knowing why. And you can actually bring that to your work. Where are you actually going to sit down on a day-to-day basis that when you do, you're digitally detoxed, so you're not on email, you're not plugged into anywhere else but the work that you're doing, and also that you're not moving around.
Yeah, I found during the pandemic, once I'd taken a break from medicine, then I was spending just loads of time just at home on my desk, and it was a nightmare. And then it was a few months later that I discovered the WeWork co-working space in Cambridge. And then I started kind of commuting there, like 10-minute cycle or 10-minute drive each day. And there was something so nice about having an office to commute to, where in the past I would have thought, oh, hey, I'm a digital nomad. I work from anywhere. I work from home. But actually, I really like going to an office and then just staying there all day and like getting, a takeaway for lunch. And then when I come home, it's like I literally only come home to sleep. And that just massively increased my quality of life. So now I'm trying to find those similar things, especially when it comes to, so I'm trying to write a book as well. I've been procrastinating the hell out of it. But one thing I'm trying to do is like, certain mornings each week will be blocked out. No one's allowed to book anything. And I go to a specific coffee shop, same one every day, where that is the only place I will write book stuff.
Yep.
And we've just signed a lease on an office where we're like, okay, now I can focus on YouTube studio YouTube stuff when I'm at that space. I guess there's evidence that this sort of stuff is helpful.
Absolutely. And it's like a switch. So when you sit down in the coffee shop, it will be all about the book. When you go into the office, it's just about the YouTube video. And really making sure that you stick to that is very important. So I don't know how many of your listeners are going to be checking their emails in bed, for example, or even playing games in bed on their phone. It's really, really bad for us. So thinking about where is the areas in your house, in your space that you're going to do particular activities, and sticking to that will absolutely make you more productive. And you've mentioned quality of life. I would be surprised if people didn't follow what you described and didn't see happiness